I hope that you enjoyed the intro on Africa as a continent as a whole, and well, every country is quite different. Uh, my main area of knowledge again is Nigeria, so there will be a focus on that, as well as Lagos, and eventually an introduction to our brand new city, Eco Atlantic. So, I'm sure that you've seen this picture of the world where the whole world is well lit up and Africa is still in the dark. Just as a note, Europe has about 740 million people and Africa 1 billion. And we are very, very far behind. As the most populated country on the continent, with 183 million people, 20% of all Africans are Nigerian. We are now the largest economy in Africa with $594 billion in GDP. We had a GDP growth last year of 6.21%, and you can see the impact of the current oil crisis, let's call it. We are currently at 5.5%, which is still decent. Some of the major industries are agriculture, manufacturing, banking, mining, telecoms, and of course, oil and gas. And as I mentioned before, oil and gas represents 14% of the GDP, as opposed to a much higher number. An interesting graph that we use some of the United Nations number is the population growth in Nigeria. We will cross the 200 million people by 2020. We will practically double that by 2050 with 400 million people. It's a bit far away, but by 2100, we would be close to 1 billion people in Nigeria. And that is a very large increase in our opinion. So when it comes to real estate in Nigeria, we have a very large shortage of homes. There's a shortage of 16 million homes, and this shortage is only increasing every year as the supply is very far from meeting the required demand. It is estimated that we need about $280 billion of investment today to meet this gap. I actually think this is a very conservative number. And I think this number will actually grow significantly over the coming years. One of the sectors holding us back is the mortgage industry. So the total amount of mortgage on the market only represents 0.5% of the GDP, which is about $3 billion. There are only $3 billion worth of mortgage loans in Nigeria. And if we want to compare to South Africa, which is 22% of the GDP, with $77 billion of mortgages, and to the other extreme, the United States, which is at 10 trillion. So at 3 billion, we are still very, very far behind. It's an area of huge growth potential. As Ruth mentioned it, there are some government programs now in place to try to tackle this issue. And we are seeing also movement from the banking industry to find solutions to the mortgage crisis. A map of Nigeria, 36 states, and that little bar at the bottom is Lagos. Lagos is actually a bit smaller than that. We are the smallest state in the entire country, yet we have the largest population and the largest economy of the country. With a population of about 20 million people, we have the largest port in West Africa, and we are Nigeria's commercial, financial, and industrial center. Our GDP of $45 billion is comparable to the entire country of Ghana. 40% of the real estate activity in Nigeria happens in Lagos. We have a shortage of 5 million homes, which is about a third of the total shortage in the country. We also have very large shortages in commercial space, retail space, and other sectors such as schools, hospitals, and of course infrastructure. Here's a graph that was inspired by a report from JLL. Thanks, guys. So I find this graph very fascinating, this graphic very fascinating. It compares basically the entire region of Sub-Saharan Africa, excluding South Africa, to the country of South Africa. The entire region of Sub-Saharan Africa has a population of 830 million, compared to 52 million in South Africa. Yet, we only have 2 million square meters of office space in the entire region, and compared to 15 million square meters in South Africa. And if we look at retail, only 500,000 square meters for 830 million people, compared to 21 million square meters again in South Africa. This is we are 40 times, maybe more, behind South Africa. Some of the points that have been holding us back in Lagos when it comes to meeting these shortages is basic infrastructure. We are far from having 24/7 electricity. We don't have adequate water distribution networks, sewage networks. Everything has to be trucked in. Even the diesel for the generators has to be trucked in. And that does create a lot of challenge. We have been seeing a lot of improvement in Lagos over the past 10 years with better road networks. Lagos has a very, very ambitious master plan for public transportation, and the construction has started, whether it's light railway, ferry systems, or even cable cars, and it's looking very good. So one solution that we believe in will help actually these challenges is our new city, Eco-Atlantic. So Eco-Atlantic, 10 million square meters of reclaimed land of Lagos, Nigeria, of the business district of Lagos, Nigeria. We are expecting that by the time it's completely built, there will be 250,000 residents and 150,000 commuters. It is 100% privately funded, and, well, with no government funding, basically. And Eco-Atlantic was last year registered a free zone. Free zones will allow for easy registration, tax and investment incentives, duty exemptions, as well as 100% repatriation of capital, profits, and dividends. So this should help make it a beautiful platform, an easy platform to come in and invest and set foot in Africa. So Eco-Atlantic, as you can see, it is attached to Victoria Island, which is the current business district of Lagos. We can literally walk from one to the other. Lekki, as you can see on the other side, is a high-density residential area that has developed in the past 10 years only. Above Victoria Island is Ikoyi, which is a high-end residential area. So really, Eco-Atlantic is in a very key location in Lagos. Just to note, the catchment area around Eco-Atlantic is about 3 million people. So what will we be offering? 24/7 utilities, all again privately funded. So yeah, we will have an independent natural gas power plant, independent water and sewage treatment plants. We want to make it a smart city, so we're laying the foundations by putting all the fiber optic cables from day one. By the end of this year, 90% of the first 5 million square meters of Eco-Atlantic, 90% of the infrastructure will be ready. We will have easy access to the master planned Lagos public transportation network. We have very easy access to the ferry networks. We are a few minutes drive away from one of the Lagos rail stations, and we are actually right attached to the planned West African Coastal Highway, which is a highway that will connect a few countries in West Africa. This was the first time we lit lights on Eco-Atlantic end of last year. This is the heart of the business district, a boulevard we call Eco Boulevard. And it was quite an event for us because we actually, for the first time, got to see a finished road, some finished sidewalks, and a bit of light, not just sand and water, which we have been seeing for quite some time. Construction has started. We don't have to wait to complete the 10 million square meters. 11 residential towers are currently under construction. The first building which is a client of ours who bought land, is close to completing a 15-story office tower, which he sold out already. We are promoting a 2,000-student international school to be sort of an anchor to the city, and it's, of course, very well needed in Lagos. Some of the upcoming developments, a large-scale shopping mall, a state-of-the-art hospital. We have a very serious problem when it comes to hospitals and healthcare in Lagos. There are very few quality facilities, and even those facilities are running a bit old. It is time to actually have a proper state-of-the-art hospital. We have the doctors, we have the nurses, we just don't have the facilities. We will soon be launching as well the business district, where we want to attract various headquarters, and we also want to provide very high-quality office space for any companies wanting to set foot in Africa. A quick view of the master plan. Various districts. Our master planner actually happens to be in this room. If you can notice the purple on the map that's the business district. And if you can look at on the right side, the Marina district, on your left actually, it's the Marina district which we have started construction on. Here's a shot of the first 15-story building. Here's a vision for the financial district, definitely changing by the day, but hopefully we can achieve this quite soon. This is the Marina Projects, the first project we launched, Chagoury Peninsula, where we partnered up with investors, mainly in Nigeria so far, to start the construction of luxurious residential towers. In other parts of the Marina, we're aiming for more mid-market segment, more mid-market residential towers. Here's a shot of it. So, coming back to a satellite picture, this is a more recent satellite picture that was taken about 3 weeks ago. We have been very hard at work over the past 6 years just to bring Eco-Atlantic to life. And we are very confident now. I mean, the city is practically ready now for operation. The last remaining thing is now actually seeing all these structures come up from the ground, and we want to start seeing some activity hopefully soon. So back to the initial picture. There was an interview with a former French finance minister on a French national TV a couple of weeks ago. And he said something quite interesting. He said that the $4 billion investment in Africa will generate wealth, basically, $300 billion worth of wealth in Europe. I'm not sure how he came up with this calculation. It sounds quite wild, but it sounds good. So hopefully together we can help make Africa shine, and of course, make some great returns along the way. Thank you very much.